good night for sports fans. The Lakers are done. They've been eliminated. But our lead this hour comes from the Pacific Northwest. The other playoff series, we can't totally shortchange the Nuggets and Trailblazers. Now, Nikola Jokic stepping up. He had 36 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and Denver looking like there would be another game in this series, Game 7, but Denver's storming back in the final part of the third quarter and the entire fourth quarter. And they win the series in 6 games, so the Nuggets have advanced now. Michael Porter Jr., 26 points for the Nuggets. Denver will play the Suns in the Western Conference semifinals. So we are guaranteed of either having the Nuggets or the Phoenix Suns in the conference final. Now, the Nuggets, they fell behind by 14 points, and I think the final number was like 47-22 to close the game in favor of Denver over the final 16 minutes or so of the game. But the better story is in the losing locker room, where the Trailblazers are exiting stage left. They're gone. And it's all about Damian Lillard, the star system. Now, Lillard had by his standards, a quiet night. He didn't put up 55 points. He had 28. Took 28 shots. That's not good. That's not good there. Had 5 turnovers. Now, there's a lot of chatter percolating that Dame must leave Rip City, that this was going to be his last game with the Trailblazers, that he's wasting the prime of his career. It's not fair. It's not fair. Lillard was asked if the Blazers need to make changes this offseason. Now, he wasn't asked about his particular situation. At least I didn't see that. He said, though, of the Blazer roster. We actually have some audio on this. All right, let's go to the audio tape. Here's Damian Lillard commenting on what needs to change in Portland.
I mean, we didn't win a championship, so obviously where we are now isn't good enough. I don't know what a shakeup looks like or what changes will be made or could be made. But obviously, as is, it wasn't good enough. We came up short against a team without their starting point guard and shooting guard. Will Barton didn't play, and Jamal Murray didn't play, and we came up short. So obviously, where we are isn't good enough to win the championship if it's not good enough for us to get out of a first round series with 2 of their best 3 or 4 players not on the floor.
All right, so let me translate there. Lillard basically, he said how he thinks very little of the Nugget backups, and he's embarrassed that the Blazers lost to a bunch of Nugget backups alongside Jokic in the middle. So the beat continues here. Now, NBA Twitter thinks that Damian Lillard has to force a trade, that this must be the end of the road. We are at an intersection, and he has got to make a turn. He's got to make a turn. There's a fork in the road. So let us discuss the question. You make the call. Should Damian Lillard strong-arm his way out of Portland and attempt to go to a team that has more talent so he can try to win a championship? Now, I'm shaking my head no on this. I've got the trail, throwback, and vacuum. And we will put all these things together into a casserole, and we'll cook it and see what we have here. Now, to lead off with, Damian Lillard, I don't know that he's feeling the pressure, but the only way he can avoid the noise at this point is if his Wi-Fi breaks. It's everywhere, right? Things are being said, things are being spread around, getting cranked up here. It's started. It's the Free Dame Lillard campaign, and Lillard can't be happy in Portland. Right? Bring Lillard to the Bulls. Bring Lillard to the Knickerbockers. How about Damian Lillard with the Celtics? NBA media wants to talk it into reality. There are some factions of the NBA media, they're licking their chops at the possibility of Lillard leaving Portland and going somewhere else. Now, Lillard has enough equity based on what he has already done with the Blazers where he could go down the trail, the reverse Oregon trail, and force his way on a sexier team, shall we say. But I'm going to put my foot down and say this is nonsense. Like, the Blazers are not the Hindenburg. They've gotten to a certain level. They're a playoff team. Playoffs. But they can't get past this imaginary glass ceiling, right? It's not some unmitigated disaster. Now, furthermore, Now, Damian Lillard has built his reputation. Right? This is the main reason it's highly unlikely that Lillard's going to be your usual NBA player. He has been heralded on this show and other shows that he's not your standard out of central casting NBA star that's just empty, like Kevin Durant, who fights with teenagers on Twitter and has his burner accounts and bounces around the NBA trying to create super teams wherever he goes. LeBron James, right? LeBron's done this several times where he's left for greener pastures. That's not Damian Lillard, right? He is loyal. I don't know if he's immensely loyal. I guess we'll find out. But the living, breathing embodiment of what used to be called an old school player, a throwback back to the halcyon days when players wanted to slay the dragon. They didn't want to join the dragon. They wanted to take down the dragon. And it's the whole obstacle thing, right? It's, oh, my God, there's an obstacle. Let me take the easy road. But Damian Lillard so far has not been that guy. Obstacles are difficulties, but for Damian Lillard, he's approaching it the way you should approach it. It's a stepping stone. Becomes a better story, right? What's the better story? Damian Lillard leaves and joins Brooklyn, or Damian Lillard stays in Portland, they figure it out, and they win something. Right? And they might never win anything. Maybe that'll be the way it is. Karl Malone never won anything with the Utah Jazz. He's the greatest power forward in NBA history. John Stockton, one of the great all-time point guards, never won anything. And it played with Karl Malone as far as the championships. But so far, Lillard has not been the guy to take the easy road. And one of the reasons to like this guy, he follows what I call the code of the West, right? He takes pride in his work. He always finishes what he starts. And those are good qualities. Those are really good qualities. Now, the last thing here. So you got to look at the age factor. And the reason many of the pundits are saying that Damian Lillard is going to force his way out because he's still in his prime. He's 30 years old. He's going to be 31 when the next basketball season gets going. So he's got 2 years left, give or take, in his athletic prime. The only way that he can shortcut going to winning a championship. Like the Blazers are not likely to become all of a sudden a championship team in one off season. So if he wants to have a chance in the next couple of years in his prime, then the path is to take an off ramp. But I say no, right? I say, and plus the only way he's going to leave, he's going to have to raise a ruckus. Lillard is under contract until he's 34 years old. So as a distant relative of Nostradamus and a friend of Nostradamus, he lives in Seattle, I'm going to tell you what the Blazers are going to do here. I'm going to walk you through this. All right, so first thing they're going to do is they're going to get the vacuum and the mop out, and they're going to do some spring cleaning. It's not summer yet. It's still spring. So Terry Stotts, he is headed to the guillotine. Bye-bye. There'll be a new coach. They'll have a new coach there in Portland. Not that that really matters. Most coaches are just window dressing. But there'll be a new coach on the sidelines. Also, Neil Olshey. Yeah, Neil Olshey, the president of basketball ops. He's got a bullseye on his back. He used to be with the Clippers back in the day. So essentially, the move here is they will do everything they can in Portland to pacify Damian Lillard. And while Dame time is ticking, what's going to happen is it's kind of like when you get tired of the setup in your house and you move some things around. You move the light from one side of the room to the other side of the room, and you move the sofa from the middle of the room to the right side of the room. But whoever runs the Blazer front office, stop adding washed-up players. I know people romanticize Carmelo Anthony. He sucks. He's no good. What are you doing? Get somebody better. Do better. It's a bad job by you. I mean, what are you thinking? It's embarrassing. Some of the roster moves the Blazers made.